Good morning. I'm Rex Sharwood, nursery manager here at Rogers Gardens. Today we're going to be taking a look at Dave Bush Island, one of my favorite display gardens here at the nursery. We just got done doing a late spring transition, and I'm going to be talking about some of the plant material that we've used. Let's take a look. So we just got done replanting the foxgloves up here. We've started using a new series of foxgloves here at Rogers. It's called the Camelot series. For years I'd been planting the Foxies, but this is a really great improvement on the old Foxy hybrid. The Camelots will put out a 3 to 4 foot bloom spike, and they'll bloom the same year you plant them. So this is the second time we've used these up here in this garden this year. And they look great with some of the other colors and textures of the plant material. We've got this Lamium White Nancy down in front, which makes a really great foreground plant. And then it's backed here by these Pittosporums. This is Pittosporum crassifolium compactum. Also ties in with that silver foliage. And then a really underused plant for vertical height. This is Luma apiculata. It'll grow in sun, it'll grow in shade, and it gives you just perfect vertical height if you've got an area in the yard where you want some privacy. This is a great one, maxes out at about 10 feet. Really should be used more in the landscape. So this is some of the new plant material we put in this week. And this first plant here in the foreground is a dwarf Alstroemeria. It's part of the Princess series. This one's called Princess Ivana. And they're a great Alstroemeria for kind of low border areas. They max out at about 2 feet, and they'll stay covered in blooms from now through the summer. Really a great addition to the garden. And I've got them backed by some dwarf hydrangeas, a variety called Pink Elf. And they will flush up taller than the Alstroemerias here, and then also get covered in a vibrant pink flower. So the transition between the two colors should be real nice. And then in the background here, we've got my favorite Phormium. This is Phormium Guardsman. Definitely a plant you want to use in a sunnier location. And then a new introduction, this tree behind us, which is a bit young, but it's called Agonis Jetta's Dream, and it's an improvement on the Agonis After Dark that came out a few years ago. It's supposed to have a better growth habit, darker foliage color, and a great tree for a small landscape. My favorite combinations here in the garden. In the foreground here we have Tanacetum parthenium aureum, or a golden feverfew. And then the vertical height behind it is a Scabiosa atropurpurea black, and the first flowers are just starting to show on this. We put these two plants in January, but I love the contrast between this golden foliage and this purple-black flower. When these come into full bloom, this is going to look fantastic. So I want to introduce Juventino. Juventino is my right-hand man here at Rogers when working in the store landscape. Juventino is the one that does all the planting, soil prep, insect control, and everything else that makes the gardens here look so beautiful. I have the easy job of laying out the designs, but Juventino is the one who executes it. So we're both going to be talking about exactly how we put these gardens together. So before we get started, we'll go ahead and tear out all the old plant material. While we're doing that, we make sure we pick up any old leaf debris, making sure not to leave anything behind that can rot and lead to diseases for the plant material that we're putting in. After that, we'll bring in the cultivator, start breaking up the soil, and at that point we can really start mixing in the planting mix and the fertilizer. We soil prep this area very well before each planting. We use the Rogers Gardens planting mix, which will mix 50-50 with the soil that's already in there. And then we'll add some of the Dr. Earth all-purpose fertilizer, mixing that in with the soil so that the fertilizer is already down there with the root system where the plant can best access it. For each plant we put in, we take care to break up the root ball. If you don't do this, usually on most of these 4-inch plants, the roots are traveling around in a circle in the pot, and they'll continue to do that after you plant, which will result in a plant that's less vigorous. So we talked about some great plants this morning, how you can use them in your garden, and the best way to plant them. I want to thank Juventino again for all the hard work that he did on this garden. You should really come down and see it in person. If you'd like more information on any of this plant material, don't hesitate to come on down and to check out the garden in person.